You've got ideas, you've got ambition, you've got no time, or so you think. I'm Marissa Lonick, and I help busy moms with big dreams and no time. Join me each week as I dive into time management strategies, goal setting and achieving framework, and inspiring guests who are juggling mom life, work life, fill in the blank life. Dreams don't work unless you do, and just because you're a mom doesn't mean you can't still make it happen, whatever it means to you. Welcome to the Mama Work It podcast. Hey, mamas. Welcome back to another episode of the Mama Work It podcast. I am so excited to be here today with my very special guest, Maria Smith. Maria is a former corporate executive, mom of three, and a passionate blogger and advocate for the working mother. Her blog, Confessions of a Corporate Mom, shares the stories, struggles, and triumphs of being a high-performing boss in the office while also being a devoted mom and wife at home. Born and raised in Lexington, Kentucky, she is the former Miss Kentucky Teen, Miss Kentucky, and Kentucky Derby Queen. Maria is such a beautiful person inside and out, and I am just thrilled to be chatting with her today about all things working mom and how to basically have it all without the guilt, the anxiety, the frustration that often comes with juggling all the things. Maria is on a mission to help women find their purpose, their passion, and their why. And we are so lucky to get a taste of that today. Maria, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Marissa. I'm so excited to be able to chat with you today.
Yeah, same. Okay, well, first things first, tell us a little bit more about you, your background, your family. What led you to this journey of wanting to support the ever so deserving community of working women?
Okay, oh, wow, that's a lot. 16 years spent, 16 plus years in the corporate world. And I guess first things first, where I'm from. So, yes, as you'd mentioned, from Lexington, Kentucky, born and raised there, proud graduate of the University of Kentucky. So, go Wildcats. I have a degree in political science, as well as vocal performance, which is actually where I went to college on a scholarship, and a minor in psychology. And I now, of course, am a former corporate, I guess you'd call me a corporate dropout, but after 16 plus years, decided to venture into entrepreneurship and am designing this consulting business for corporate and career women and high school and collegiate students who are wanting to navigate their career, and needing just some really solid advice and tips and some of the things not to do, but advice around just interview preparation, networking, LinkedIn, resume building, cover letter writing, etc. And then also you'd mentioned the pageant space as well. And so former Miss Kentucky, Miss Kentucky Teen, Derby Queen. So also working with pageant contestants in who want to be their best self, who want to put their best foot forward. I mean, ask any former title holder, myself included, and they'll tell you that, the title was won, the crown was won in the interview. And so that's where it all starts. It's the basis for everything. And as a judge myself, I've judged on the state, local, and national level. And when I have done so, it's always been, those top 3 to 5 women who have performed very well in the interview that I want to see more of on stage. And so that ultimately then leads to whoever ends up getting crowned. So personally, on the personal side, I met my husband when I was 17, and we met at Toys R Us. We were not buying toys together, but we were working there. And so I met him, and he was already in college at the University of Kentucky. So it definitely swayed my decision to stay local, which made my parents very happy. And yeah, we've been married 16 years next month and together for about 21 and a half years. So we've got 3 kids. Our oldest is our daughter. She will be 14 this fall. Our middle child will be 12 in October. And then our baby will be 5 in September. So we have a lot of birthdays coming up. So yeah, and then career wise, I've switched industries 4 times, 3 times, 3, yes, made quite a few career transitions and have navigated each of them pretty successfully, and so that's another aspect of building out this consulting business is to help women who are navigating their own career transitions. I think especially during the pandemic, a lot of women have come to me saying, "Hey, I need your help with career this transition because I'm wanting to change industries, and how do I go about doing that?" So, I've got some very simple yet reliable and and proven techniques and tactics to helping women navigate those types of career transitions that I'm excited to share.
Absolutely. And you've made so many career transitions over the years, moves. I mean, I imagine you've gotten really good at interviewing, advocating for yourself, and you've grown quite a bit in the corporate space and during that time. So, can you share some of your tips for the ambitious women listening who are also wanting to experience that growth at work, but maybe are feeling worried or scared or doubtful that they can do it when they have little kids at home? You are a prime example of someone who has done that.
So the largest piece of advice that I will give any woman that I'm working with that's wanting to make a transition is to never assume that their hard work is going to speak for itself. Oftentimes when I work with women and we go through a couple of sessions, we start talking through what their desires are. They're wanting to make a career transition or they're wanting to move up the ladder. Oftentimes, if the conversation hasn't ever taken place, meaning they've assumed that whoever their manager is just knows that they want to be at that next level, that's where there's a huge breakdown in communication because then they're unfulfilled. They're finding that maybe someone else gets asked to interview for that position that they really wanted. So the biggest piece of advice I always give is just to never assume that that people know what you want. You have to advocate for yourself. You have to stand up and say, "This is what I want," and be very vocal about it. If it is truly, in fact, what you want. I just have found that over the years through performance reviews or through having conversations with my team is I'm not a mind reader, so I don't know what it is that you're working towards. You have to vocalize that to me. You have to tell me this is what you want because then we can start to work on a path forward and how to get you from point A to point B. But if I'm not aware of what's going on, then it's hard for me to then advocate for you as well. Um, so that's really the biggest piece of advice that I give.
Yeah. That's great advice. I think that's hard for women to do a lot of times, but super super important to be sure that you are vocalizing that.
Mhm. That is what I've seen time and time again is that women automatically will put themselves in a corner or a box or a specific column of what they think is where their career path can go and they don't really think outside of that, whereas men will absolutely take a job description, rip it up and scrap it and say it doesn't matter what it says because I'm confident in my skill set. So I'm working to empower women to have that same type of mentality.
Love it. Love it. All right, Maria. Well, you know, I'm all about time and productivity and ultimately living your best life as a working mom, fulfilling yourself professionally and personally. And you are no stranger to that. Like, you seriously have made being a mom and a powerhouse corporate woman look easy. So, tell us your best tips when it comes to balancing those two worlds, which can often both feel very demanding of our time and energy.
I ask for help a lot. And I also have started to say no. That was a huge game changer for me. And third, I give myself a ton of grace, which I didn't used to do. That's been learned over time. It's actually a constant reminder. But going back to asking for help, I, I used to I used to martyr myself and try to do it all and be that person that made it look effortless while suffering in silence. And I'll never forget something that a coworker said to me, and it has stuck with me. And I say this to new moms and to women who are in their career and are just, kicking ass and taking names, but at the same time also struggling in silence and suffering like I did. Martyrdom never looked good on anyone. And that was the advice of a coworker of mine a long time ago. And I remember when she said that, realizing that she was right, but not wanting to admit it, that I was victim to my own expectation or belief that if I wasn't doing it all and doing it all well, then I was failing. So I had to get over that notion that that's what working moms did. And once I embraced the fact that asking for help actually was setting me free in so many ways and allowing me to delegate, allowing me and actually giving me some great leadership skills, because it was allowing me to trust other people to do things that I really needed them to do. So my mother-in-law is a huge part of our life, and I've spoken about this a lot. I've blogged about our situation. It's not ideal for everyone, but it works for us. And it hasn't always been a walk in the park, but we make it work. So I ask for help a lot. The second thing is, I think when we talk about being a working mom and balancing, we have to talk about grace and we have to talk about saying no. Have always been a yes person. I'm always someone who commits. I will overcommit, and I will drive myself absolutely insane, making sure that I then accomplish all of the goals or accomplish all of the commitments that I have agreed to. So it's self inflicted. And women in general, I think, suffer from this. My husband has no problem saying no whatsoever. And so sometimes I just always, I try to think, what would Dan do? That's my husband. Like, what would he do? He'd say no. Uh, Sometimes that doesn't work because I'm like, well, I know he would say no, but I'm still going to say yes. However, in building out this business and in choosing what I want in my life, I've had to say no to a lot of things that might be very fun, but I just don't have the time because I'm focused on what I'm building right now. And then third, it really aligns with giving yourself that grace, because I used to then beat myself up about saying no. Oh, but could I really have done it? Could I found the time? Could I maybe have made that work? And I realized that ultimately I just have to move on and accept that no, I needed to say no in that time, and that's okay. So I just give myself that grace. And I give myself that the grace too also to be okay asking for help, because that is hard for me. I think as someone, and you're probably very much like me as well in that regard,
Yes. Yes.
we like to know that we are in control and can manage our I always looked at asking for help as a sign of weakness, but then once I started reframing and reshaping how I approached what I asked for help about, I really looked at it as a sign of strength and my ability to delegate, my growth and maturity as a human, as a mom, as a leader. So it expanded into a lot of different aspects of my life in a positive way.
Oh, I love those tips, Maria. I love the martyrdom one, especially. It's like, girl, it's just not a good look for you.
It's not. It totally. And to know this woman, she's awesome, by the way, and still a dear friend. But just to hear her say it too, it really put it in perspective for me. And I'm like, you know what, you're right.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, let's switch gears for a minute now and talk a little bit more about your entrepreneurial side. So, Maria, we have similar stories in that we both started those journeys with our writing, right? Both of us being on our entrepreneurial paths in the blog world. So, tell us how that happened for you and where that's led you now.
So I started Confessions of a Corporate Mom, managing motherhood, marriage, and maniacs. I in 2014. And I was coming off of a time in my career that was extremely difficult for me. I had, at the end of 2013, I had been in a leadership position. I was the youngest in my company at that time in that leadership role, leading a team of people who were, I think the next youngest person to me was 15 years older than me. So they'd been in the industry for a long time. And I had to overcome a lot of the credibility, the just the lack of experience, etc., in order to win them over. So I spent a year honestly like busting my ass to just gain the respect from that team. And so over time, I did. But at the end of that, found that the person who was supposed to be leading me, who never really coached and developed me and just really let me flounder in a lot of different situations when they could have been there as an asset to my development, decided that they didn't want me to be in that role anymore. No reason. The team was performing well. We'd actually overcome quite a lot of obstacles, barriers, etc., within our business, and then just personally in developing the team. So it was a shock to me. So I took to blogging in order to therapeutically write my way through how I was dealing with all of the emotions of that. Having sacrificed my family for that year and really leading up to that, having sacrificed friendships, relationships that I put on the back burner in order to achieve this goal, that in the end, I was staring myself in the mirror and realizing, was it all worth it? Was it all really worth it? And so that's really where the blog came from. And then over time, it's developed into a place where working moms are celebrated for what they bring to the table, how they juggle it, how they make it happen. You are a contributor, and talking about time management and time management as a mother and prioritizing. And those really became the cornerstones because as I was working through my own issues at work, the women that I leaned on as my mentors were the ones who helped get me through. They were the ones who helped push me through to the other side to where I could be the successful woman that I am today. And so ultimately, writing it out helped me develop the plan and the path for where I am today in entrepreneurship, which is allowing me now this platform to say, I've made mistakes. I own those mistakes. I'm responsible for all of that. But together, we have to support each other as working women and as working moms in this space. So I really enjoy now where the blog is. Like I said, at first, I think it came from a place of frustration and angst and just anger. And it really has turned into a place, into a space where working moms are celebrated for all that they do. And it's how we push through and are resilient in our everyday lives and careers that make us who we are.
Yeah. And I just want to say, I love your vulnerability and your honesty, but I also want to say, we need to celebrate you. This isn't just about past mistakes. This is about your success and all of the amazingness that you have been able to accomplish as a working mom that you are now going to pass along as a mentor and coach and consultant to all these incredible, fortunate, blessed women that you're going to work with. So I love that you're honest and you're vulnerable about that, but we need to celebrate you, Maria. We need to we need to highlight all your good points too.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I mean, I always have been under the mindset that the challenges and my failures, of course, are going to progress me forward than all of my successes, because the successes is that's the formula. I mean, you do what you follow the process, you do the steps, and it builds up to that success. But it's when that success has those chips in the road and those speed bumps that we unfortunately all will encounter that makes us stronger, makes us realize that while we're on this journey, it's not going to be paved, you know um, it's not going to be smoothly paved. And so for me, especially when I think back on my corporate career too, what I want to engage women in conversation around is just making sure that they don't lose their identity in another company's goal and mission, that I can still have a purpose and a passion and a why while working for someone else that still satisfies my own desires and my own goals and my own end result, wherever I want to be. And that was something I did definitely learned the hard way, of giving of myself, sacrificing myself for another company's goals. When at the end of the day, in all in all frankness and reality, is that I am just another member of an organization that seeks to accomplish what it's doing, not for me. It's not my business. It's not
Right.
Maria Smith who's on the building. So
Right. Right.
that's also
But
a good
now it is.
perspective there. Yes, exactly. It is.
Yeah. All right. Well, being a working mom, especially in a demanding corporate environment and at the executive level, it often leaves us with such little time to think, to reflect, to dream about our own purpose and passion and bigger picture inner desires. So, tell us about why finding that purpose, that passion, that why is so vital to our overall health and well being, especially as women.
So companies and organizations, of course, were made for men by men. And that's just a fact. And so, as women, especially as working women, working moms, finding our purpose, our passion, our why is so crucial and vital to us being happy. It's our source of happiness. We all want to feel like what we're doing matters. So, we talk about it all the time in the corporate world, especially in sales. I've been in a sales environment, the WIFM, what's in it for me? Well, what's in it for me has always been the focus. When I think about my family or think about what the ultimate goal is, that has been, even in the times that I lost myself working for someone else, I still knew that ultimately what I was doing was building up to the bigger purpose of providing for my family, being able to support my family, having my own money, being able to chart my own career path and to work towards and accomplish goals. So finding that purpose is absolutely key in whatever you're doing, whether that is, you're a Beachbody coach and you're finding purpose in wanting to help make women become healthier and stronger and more fit version of themselves, while also finding that for yourself. And then if it's something that you're truly passionate about, I champion the side hustle because that's what I've been doing for the past 2 years. And the pandemic really helped solidify my feelings around the belief that I could make this a reality. And I mean, total side note, but I think the pandemic did that for a lot of us. And so I took the time really to dial in what my passion, my purpose, and my why. And then ultimately, my why is because I want to leave a legacy. I don't want to be just someone's employee. I want to be someone that can have a lasting impression on the lives of others. And to me, that is working one on one with people. It's engaging in conversation around interview preparation, resume writing, cover letter writing, building the presentation skills and the confidence in people to go be their best. And ultimately, my children are my why because the legacy that I want to leave is to them. And I hope one day my daughter or my sons decide that they want to do what I'm doing and go run Maria Maldonado Smith Consulting Agency and take it from there.
Amazing. Amazing. Oh, I don't want this conversation to end. So many crucial and good things for these working moms listening to hear. But we're going to jump over really fast to our lightning round. These are just going to be fun, random questions that I like to ask our guests just so everyone can get to know you a little bit more on a personal level. Are you ready?
Yeah,
Okay,
I am.
let's
Put me
see.
up.
What book are you reading right now?
I'm currently reading Rich People Problems. It's the third installment of the Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan.
Nice.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh,
What's your
but
guilty pleasure TV show?
oh, right now that's the Vampire Diaries. My almost 14-year-old has gotten me sucked in. I'm on season 6.
What is your go-to get shit done song?
Oh, I would say Anything by Pink. She's just on repeat. I also love Alanis Morissette and Gwen Stefani, no doubt. I mean, Kelly Clarkson. It's like those four are like my trifecta of female badasses when it comes to music.
Yeah, those are some powerhouse women right there. Okay. If you could go on vacation tomorrow anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
Ooh, it would be to Africa, and it would be probably Rwanda, Botswana, Nigeria, any of those countries. I have a passion and a desire to eventually serve and do some type of mission or service project over in Africa. And ever since I was little, have just desired to want to go to Africa. So that's where I would go tomorrow.
Beautiful. What a great answer. All right. Nail salon, hair salon, or spa. You can only pick one to visit for the rest of your life. Which one is it? I feel silly asking you that after your really beautiful answer about Africa. But I
Well,
still
I would
want to
have to
know.
set up. Yeah, no, absolutely. I would have to set up a hair salon in Africa. That's fine. I would just have my people with me. Hair salon for sure. My hair is my security blanket, and so yeah, I could not go without a hairstylist or hair salon.
What is your cocktail of choice?
Ooh, gin and tonic.
All right. Keeping it old school there. I like it.
Yeah.
And and what is one app you cannot live without?
Ooh, one app. I would have to say Instagram. It's just I feel like it's what I every morning when I wake up is the first app that I click on is Insta. And just I love looking at pictures of babies and watching videos and reels and Barstool Sports and, influencers gone wild. So, um, or in the wild, sorry, not gone wild, but just the funniness that goes on. While also the seriousness too, because I love supporting all of our working moms in the community as well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, before we wrap up, why don't you tell our listeners where they can find you?
Sure, absolutely. So I'm on Instagram at Confessions of a Corporate Mom, and there's actually an underscore in between each of those words. And I'm on Facebook as well under Maria Smith. If you search Maria Smith at Confessions of a Corporate Mom, it'll pop up. So everything pretty much that I put on Insta uploads to the Facebook page. But now that I'm switching to the consulting side of things, I'm going to be making some changes and shifts to both of those pages. And then my blog is confessionsofacorporatemom.com. And I will also am in the process of revamping that as well. So eventually it'll all become Maria Maldonado Smith Consulting. But there will still be links to the blog and everything because I will continue blogging about being a working mother and building out this business. But I'll be providing also just some basic tips around interviewing and preparation for interview and how to really present your best self and share that for everyone who follows me. And those will be some downloadable PDFs that you can fill out, when just kind of asking yourself basic questions about what are your life goals and how you can start working towards achieving those.
Amazing. Well, this is so needed, and you are just like the perfect person to be providing this type of service. So I'm super excited to see this grow and come to fruition, and for all of the mamas out there who are going to benefit from your services.
Thank you. I'm very excited. I actually am still a little bit in disbelief that I took the leap and did it, but it's been a really cool week just kind of getting to hang with my kids and take a little bit of time before, like I said, I start a project in July and really start hunkering down and working with clients on a full-time basis. So it's exciting.
Awesome. Well, thanks again, Maria, for being here. It's been so fun chatting with you.
Thank you so much for having me, Marissa. Appreciate it.
You've been listening to the Mama Work It podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode and would love if you could take a quick minute to leave me a review on whichever platform you're listening from, and maybe even send a note to a fellow mama friend recommending it. Reviews and recs help this podcast grow and reach more like-minded, awesome moms. And if you haven't subscribed yet, don't forget to click that button so we can stay in touch, girl. By the way, If you haven't checked out the Mama Work It website, please do. There are lots of free resources and great articles there that can help you with the juggle of work life, mom life, wife life, fill in the blank life. So head on over. Thanks again for being part of the tribe. I'll see you soon, but in the meantime, keep on working it, Mama.